Hello, my name is John. This is NAR Outdoors. Welcome to the channel. As many of you know, our focus here is on the new Ford Ranger, specifically the non-Raptor models, hence the Not a Raptor NAR. Today's topic is going to be of pretty great interest to a lot of you, I think, if you're in the same camp as me and you're running NAR Ranger. But the Raptor guys, you may benefit too. So stick around. So Raptor guys, you've got those built-in AUX switches, pre-installed wiring, and you're quite lucky because of that. The rest of us don't have this nicety. Shame on you, Ford. Maybe offer it as an option in the FX4 package. I'm sure it'll come with a trimmer model. But right now, we're kind of left out on that. But never fear, NAR owners. There are some great workarounds that actually are going to give you more functionality than the factory option. I'm going to run through some of those and then I'm going to unbox what I chose. So stick around. So option one, there's always the pre-made switch harness. This one is from Diode Dynamics. It will run two of their lights at the same time. So if all you want to do is run ditch lights or maybe a light bar, this may be an option. You are going to have to probably drill a hole in your dash and run some wires. And then if you want to do a couple more than one, there are a few options available from different companies from overseas that allow you to mount multiple switches. So if you wanted to run ditch lights, a light bar, or something else. So a Pirate Camp Co., this is an Australian company. I've actually ordered some stuff from them, not this. They have these options, allows you to mount it underneath your factory head unit. I don't know for certain if this is going to fit the US made, but I think this is a good option if you just have a couple things you'd like. It is going to limit your access to this area below. Another option would be this by Steady. It replaces, well, I don't know if it replaces, but it goes on top of your little top of dash warning area. Again, this is for overseas. This is actually a German website. And it allows you to mount square, I think they're Toyota switches in this area, and then you're going to have to figure out how to run the wires. So it is an option. You got some options for that if you want to go stick with the standard relays or something along those lines. Another option, I'm sure you've seen these on Facebook or wherever, it would be something like the AUX beams. Now, this is kind of in this solid state relay system, and it ranges anything from, you can actually do fused traditional relays, digitally controlled wireless, and this is kind of what I wanted to focus on. There's a lot of options in this category. Some of them are simple, some of them are sophisticated. Some of them are basically just switches that control relay, be it a solid state or a traditional relay under the hood. Some of them are more complicated where a single switch can control multiple outputs. So anyway, this is the AUX beam. It's a solid state relay system. They've got just a plethora of options. You can do the number of channels, 6, 8, 12. You can do a separate wireless controller. You can do Bluetooth. You can do non-Bluetooth. Almost all of them have the ability of changing the background color, have different stickers. And I think these are all fused. So I think they all run little mini fuses under the hood. And it seems like there's a lot of, I don't know if they're knockoffs or just someone else sourcing the same base unit and calling it their own. So this is by LaceFit. It looks super similar. This is by F-150 LEDs. Again, it looks almost identical to the AUX beam. So we're just gonna lump all those together. And then there are more advanced options. So S-Pod's really well known. They've got a lot of different variants of this, 6-channel, 8-channel. You have this box that goes under the hood, and then you can actually do a straight wireless control using just your phone, or you can elect to put in a LCD switch panel. You can elect to put in a solid switch panel. There are some that are specifically made for different models. So I think there's like a specific Jeep roll bar option. I think there's one for the Bronco. And then you can do add-ons too. So you can add on additionally more of these modules if you need more circuits. Pretty cool. The ones with the control boxes are getting up there into the $900 to $1,000. And then its probably best known competitor is a company called Switch Pros. They just limit themselves to two options, an 8-channel SP9100, and I think it's basically just a basic switched system. I don't think you can customize the buttons to function to a macro. And then the RCR Force 12, it's 12 switches with 17 outputs. You can use the RCR Force 12 where you can use a single switch to control multiple actual outputs. So I'm going to just call that a macro functionality. The SP9100 runs about 659, and then to upgrade to the Force 12, you're way up there over 1,000. There are some newcomers on the market. The one that I've noticed is a company called Switchworks. It's the Alpha 12. It is, again, that solid state switching system all under the hood. And it has a LCDs display that you can customize, which will actually even go to show you different voltages that you're using at the time or different amperages you're using at the time. It also allows, the way it's set up is a little simpler than the Switch Pros in that it has pigtails that you can plug straight into or you can crimp onto. The Switch Pros is pigtails, but you have to crimp onto them and then find a separate ground, whereas the Alpha actually has the grounds built in. One of the issues I have with all of these, and it may not be a big deal to you, is that there's no great place in the Ranger to mount these control units. There's a couple different options on the market. You've got this from SDHQ, where it takes the place of your sunglasses holder. You could potentially mount something with maybe 3M tape above your light control. You could put a stick-on adjustable arm mount on the dash. You could maybe find some place to mount it to the right side of the display. You could maybe rig something up coming out from underneath your head unit on an arm. But there's nothing great on the market yet for the Ranger. I'm sure it's coming. I'm sure someone's got something in the works, but it's not there yet, and I'm impatient. So we do have a couple more options that are kind of interesting that kind of take away that problem. So I would like to keep my interior as stock looking as possible, kind of keep it streamlined. So Garmin has a product called the Power Switch. It was recently on sale. It looks like the sale stopped. I'm sure they're going to have another one coming up. So it was $399 like last week. This is a 6-unit switching system. It's all under the hood. It wirelessly connects with your cell phone or one of their compatible Garmin navigators. And then the thing that's really cool about this is that with the wireless connectivity to your cell phone, it has the ability to be controlled either by CarPlay or Android Auto on your dash unit. These are chainable, so you can connect up to 4 of these to one control app or control unit. And the other really cool thing I like about these is it's programmable. You have the ability to set up macros, so it would be like one touch, everything's on, or one touch for specific scenarios. But you're not really running anything through the dashboard. That's really nice. I like it. And then the next thing I found was kind of cool. I don't know much about this, but it's called the Legend. It's by a company called Acumen. And what it is it is their digital rear view mirror. So you run a camera to the back of the truck. They have the ability to have more factory looking mounting than many of these digital review mirrors. And then it has something called the box, Acumen box right there. and that is a 8-channel programmable switch system built in. And you use the mirror for the control. So the mirror is an LCD touch display. You can set that up. I don't know about the camera quality. I haven't been able to find much information about these. I do think this is going to be a really good option for a lot of people, especially if you're going to mount a camper on the back, because it's going to allow you to have a better rear view with the switch control. But at the same point, I don't know much about this. It does still require you to run that wire through the dash to their control box, but it does have Bluetooth control, so you can use your phone as well. So this is an interesting thing. I'm really interested to see what happens with these. I think if they were to upgrade some of their camera software, it would just be a shoe-in, not software, hardware. But let's get to the unboxing. This is what I picked.
So I got the Garmin power switch right here. I ordered it through Amazon. It was on sale last week for $3.99. That definitely influenced my purchase, I'm not gonna lie. Let's see what's in the box. So you've got the Garmin power switch itself. It is about the size of a fat wallet. Six actual switch control buttons on the front, your pairing button, and then a latch to open it where you can access your positives. There's a negative for the unit, the positive for your actual battery cable, and then you do have an option of 2 control circuits. You can place one of these on ignition or for your headlights or reverse lights to trigger something else within the unit. Nice and beefy, hefty. This appears to be metal as a heat sink, which is nice. Going further in the box, crimp-on terminals for your circuits. This is your ground from the unit to the battery. You still do have to ground out all of your specific circuits. And this is the battery cable. It has an inline 125 amp circuit. Should you have problems down the road, and then a small booklet on installation instructions. Battery cable and ground cable are about 2 feet long, so you'll have some availability in your engine bay to mount it. I'm gonna set this up at first with this stuff, and then I'm actually probably gonna modify it because my mounting location is gonna be to the point where I just don't need this much. So I'll probably be crimping on a new terminal, or I may even replace this with something that's a little bit more flexible, make it look fancy. Try to mimic what Blaze does with his stuff. My plan is to use this as a mounting point. It's not really meant for it. This is from Australia. It's meant to mount some very specific Australian components on the top. But I think while I may not be able to find spots to directly mount what I need, I'm going to find plenty of real estate to bolt this down. My plan is to use a Blue Sea bus bar with it for my negatives, and then I just am not certain yet where I'm going to put everything. I'm not really going to plan on trying to have it through the holes they've got. I'm going to be doing my own thing. I'm sure that someone is going to come up with something very similar to this on the US market. Power trays maybe. Somebody like that. Maybe mount my ground over here. That may be kind of slick. And then the holes don't line up for that. So they use a specific type of circuit breaker fuse block that are supposed to mount here, so you can gang them up and have your cables come up through here, go in and then go out. And then this is actually meant and set up to put an Anderson connector right there. for high current needs. Anywho. All right, before we go any further with mounting anything, I'm going to zip these bolts off and install the Pirate Camp Co. battery fuse mounting bracket. Half inch for these bolts and nuts. I guess it's half inch for the nut. And they're well longly threaded, so I got out the impact for it. This is two parts. You have a high side and a low side. The high side goes towards the front, the low side goes towards the back, and the skinnier part goes in first. Same thing with the actual mounting plate. I don't know why they did it this way. I like it though. I'm gonna zip these back on. That looks pretty darn good. So what I'm thinking, because my body ground is right there, and they recommend not to mount directly to this because of this current sensor, is to actually mount my bus here. Cable comes over to the body ground, should be plenty of clearance. I think that might be okay. I'm worried this might get in the way. This is probably going to be a better option. Could put it up here. That would work. And then mount this probably like this. So I can have traces come in from this side to go to these inputs, traces come in from this side to go to these inputs. I'm just going to close the lid a little bit, make sure it doesn't interfere with that on top. If you haven't watched my last video, or a video a while ago about fixing the Ranger's hood closure, that was done recently. So it didn't seem like it had any resistance closing on this side. I don't see any bowing of the dash or the hood. So I think we're going to be good. I'm sure Blaze will come up with something similar to this in the future. Let me know in the comments. Do you think that mount with their battery cable coming out this way? Do you think that mount with the battery coming out this way and just looping up to my terminal there? I can put this over here, put that there. So let's call option A for the ground bus, option B for the ground bus, option C for the ground bus. Suppose I could even go option D for the ground bus. And then this mount for the ground bus would give me the most options in terms of where to fit this. I'd probably just do it centralized. Do you think it would be better to point the positive cable this way and have it loop down and over, or to go this way and have it go straight down and over? You guys let me know.
No roar.